Okay, let's jump right into this. We are living through a wildly fast period of military evolution right now. Relatively simple, everyday technology is literally turning the global balance of power upside down, and it's rewriting the rules of warfare and military economics right before our eyes.
So, I really want you to think about this question for a second. How exactly does a tiny $500 device completely take out a $20 million machine? Well, understanding this massive economic asymmetry is the absolute key to understanding the future of global combat. For decades, military dominance was all about who had the biggest, heaviest, and most ridiculously expensive platforms. But today, the most terrifying weapon on the battlefield isn't a massive tank. It's basically a piece of plastic with a camera, a battery, and a small explosive strapped to it.
Look at it this way, as our sources point out. You could use a $3 million interceptor missile to blow a $500 piece of plastic out of the sky. And sure, that might be effective in the short term, but it is a financially unsustainable strategy for any nation over a long conflict. Think about it. When your adversary can launch 1,000 cheap drones for a fraction of the cost of just one of your defense missiles, you're trapped in what experts call a strategy of cost imposition. You literally cannot afford to win.
All right, moving to Section 1, Ascent of a Drone Superpower. To really get how we arrived at this point, we have to look at a fascinating catalyst. Just look at how quickly Turkey moved from being completely reliant on foreign imports to engineering their very own domestic drone program out of pure geopolitical necessity. Back in 2005, a young MIT graduate named Selçuk Bayraktar pitched a homemade drone to Turkish officials, basically warning them they needed their own domestic capabilities. By 2010, strained international relations meant Turkey couldn't rely on buying drones from the US or Israel anymore. So, what did they do? They built their own. By 2015, they test-fired a rocket from their brand-new Bayraktar TB2. And honestly, warfare hasn't been the same since. And that rapid, incredibly independent development led straight to the Bayraktar TB2, a machine that has seen staggering global use. Get this, by December 2024, this single drone family had astonishingly racked up 1 million flight hours globally. It was exported to dozens of countries, fundamentally changing the strategic calculus for nations that previously just couldn't afford a traditional air force.
Let's dive into Section 2, the TB2 Battlefield Test.
You see, the TB2 wasn't just a cool new gadget. It initiated a completely new military doctrine. Turkey actually became the first nation to routinely use armed drones for operations within its own borders. Then, during Operation Spring Shield in Syria, they executed the very first mass-coordinated drone offensive, seamlessly linking air power, ground support, and artillery. Later, in the hands of Ukrainian forces, TB2s were famously used as tactical decoys to help sink the Russian flagship cruiser Moskva, and they provided the critical surveillance needed to recapture Snake Island. It was an absolute game-changer. However, as we look at the source data neutrally, this new era of warfare brings up some incredibly urgent ethical concerns. Sources like Drone Wars UK highlight a massive, pressing need for oversight. Because drones lower the physical risk to the operator sitting miles away, they can potentially lower the threshold for using lethal force. This raises serious, undeniable questions about civilian harm and the unique, highly controversial nature of drone strikes occurring within a nation's own borders. Which brings us to Section 3. The fall of large drones. Now, here is the massive twist in our explainer today. The very weapon that just revolutionized warfare is already becoming obsolete in high-intensity conflicts. The contrast is stark. On one side, we have Class 3 drones like the TB2. They're huge, 12 meters wide, slow-moving at around 130 kilometers per hour, and cost millions. On the other side, we have Class 1 drones. These are small, cheap, commercial off-the-shelf devices converted for combat. Without total air superiority, those large Class 3 drones are total sitting ducks. And the data completely backs this up. By September 2023, the once heralded TB2 essentially vanished from the skies over Ukraine. Why? Well, it turns out that a slow-moving, large-profile drone, actually scratch that, it's essentially a flying billboard, simply cannot survive once an adversary properly integrates their radar and electronic jamming equipment. Large drones work great when your enemy can't shoot back, but in a high-intensity, peer-to-peer conflict, they are quickly swept right off the board.
Let's move to Section 4, Cheap Tech, Massive Impact.
Warfare immediately adapted to this void, leading to what we can call an accessible adaptation battle across all domains. Up in the air, you have expendable first-person view, or FPV drones, doing tactical strikes. Out at sea, you have unmanned sea vehicles like the Seababy 2024, which can silently carry a whole ton of explosives over 1,000 kilometers. And on land, we're seeing the rise of remote-controlled robots like the Vepr, taking over deadly jobs like remote mining and even evacuating wounded soldiers right under fire. To truly grasp how devastating this cheap tech can be, consider this staggering fact. Sources report that asymmetrical naval drones, which are essentially remote-controlled speedboats packed with explosives, have destroyed roughly a third of an advanced traditional naval fleet in the Black Sea. A country without a traditional navy is dismantling a superpower's multi-billion-dollar fleet using off-the-shelf parts and jet skis. That is wild. On land, the impact is just as shocking. Historically, if an artillery spotter saw a target, it took about 30 minutes to relay the coordinates and fire. But today, because of these cheap, small drones hovering over the battlefield with high-def cameras, that operational tempo has been compressed down to just 3 to 5 minutes. By the time you realize you're being watched, it's already too late. Of course, for every single new innovation, a countermeasure is born. Because shooting down a $500 drone with a massive missile is terrible math, electronic warfare, or EW, has become the absolute most critical defense on the modern battlefield. Militaries are jamming radio frequencies, spoofing GPS coordinates, and even using cyber harassment, like literally leaving messages on an enemy drone operator's jammed screen just before crashing their drone. And when all the fancy digital tricks fail, high-tech troops are physically resorting to shotguns and drone-catching nets. All right, our final section, Section 5, the future of combat. Which brings us to the ultimate takeaway of our explainer today. Modern security is no longer about who has the biggest military budget or the largest standing army. It is entirely about the adaptation battle. You innovate a new drone tactic, within weeks, your adversary builds a jammer to counter it. So you change the drone's frequency. They counter that. This cycle of innovating, responding, and adapting used to take years. Now, it happens in a window of just 1 to 12 weeks. The winner of the next conflict will be whoever cycles through this loop the fastest. And that leaves us to one final, incredibly provocative question. Right now, jamming works because it cuts the signal between the drone and the human operator. But as AI begins to automate target detection, visual navigation, and swarming behaviors, that human link is totally erased. A jammed AI drone doesn't crash, it just finishes the mission on its own. So I leave you with this. Are we really ready for a world where machines fight these rapid adaptation battles completely on their own at speeds humans can't even comprehend? Thanks for joining me on this explainer. I really hope this helped clear up the incredible paradigm shift happening in our skies right now.